Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Manny Lai of Samurai CPA. Today, we're going to go over an age old question that every startup founder, small business owner, and entrepreneur eventually has to grapple with. When it comes to your accounting, do you want to DIY or should you hire a expert to handle it for you? I want to help small business owners make the right choice. And every day I see different scenarios that people are dealing with. And sometimes a CPA actually isn't the right fit. And sometimes people who think they don't need a CPA, yeah, it's about time you get one. Today, we're going to go over when it makes sense, what to look for, what questions to ask yourself, and where can you go when you need help. The first question that a small business owner needs to ask themselves is they need to challenge the notion that is DIY actually cheaper, because there are a lot of times when it is, and there's a lot of times when it truly isn't. So when you're doing DIY, your software costs actually could add up. So let's throw out an example. Let's say you have a contracting business. This business has payroll because they have a few employees. They have tax as well. Yes, there are pieces of software we're all familiar with that allow you to do a DIY job. You have the books. You always got to keep books no matter what, otherwise, you won't have a proper tax return. If you haven't kept your books, please give me a call because let's get you out of trouble. And lastly, invoicing. Invoicing platforms oftentimes add additional costs as well. So if you have a complex business, the cost of your software altogether might literally outweigh the cost of a CPA that's quoting you a price on the lower end. But that's not the only factor you got to factor in. Nearly 30% of small businesses incur IRS interest and penalties from filing errors. I know this because I've helped small businesses abate and negotiate some of those penalties myself firsthand. And if your DIY is causing you to get penalized, maybe it's really not a good idea to DIY after all. So, a professional CPA, it depends on what they do for you, but they can range anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 a year. And what is the benefits of working with a professional? Number one, the liability is in their hands. Although you and only you are responsible for the numbers you give the CPA is responsible for making sure you file on time, reminding you of the deadlines, giving you a phone call when you're missing pieces of information necessary to finish your financials or stay compliant with the regulators. So a CPA shields you from a lot of liability because that's their job. Secondly, optimization of deductions. A CPA can help you look for more deductions that self filing software might actually be missing. And they'll also help you analyze if this deduction is allowable or not, further protecting you from liability. Compliance is also a huge factor on why you can see ROI from a CPA. Literally, just saving you from fines once or twice can be enough to pay for even higher end fees. The other thing you got to keep in mind is that your time is actually worth something. Everyone's time is worth something, but your time, when you are spending it on tasks that don't improve the bottom line, generate revenue, streamline and enhance operations, that is taking away from the bottom line that belongs to you. So let's do a bit of napkin math here. Obviously, every business is different, But a small business, assume they need 8 hours to close one deal is worth $800. Now we can tweak these assumptions, but I'm just using this as a baseline. The math usually does work out in a business owner's favor, no matter what numbers they plug in. So, using this example, if it takes 120 hours a year, which is a average for back office bookkeeping, tax preparation tasks done by small business owners per year, well, 8 hours versus 120 hours, that is 15 lost deals, translating to $12,000 in lost revenue for your business. Paying a CPA even 5 grand on the high end to handle all of your taxes, bookkeeping, the full service, entire back office outsourcing. Now your bank account is 7K in the positive. So your time is money, and a CPA can help you buy back time. What are some of the mistakes that can really shoot business owners in the foot? Here's the DIY mistakes I see all the time. So, commingling business and personal funds, that's a really non kosher thing to do in business. In fact, it's so bad it can cause you to pierce the corporate veil, which means that the legal separation between you and your business can be dissolved if you're commingling personal funds. So, a good CPA can build robust systems so that it's easy to track business versus personal spending. Accounting a nexus, what states do you have a state tax liability in, and what accounting method should you use? Cash, which is you get to recognize cash revenue the second you receive it, but if you don't receive it, you don't owe the revenue, versus accrual, which is a accounting method that says, hey, I have a 1 year contract for, let's say, $12,000. Upon the commencement of the contract, I recognize 1K at a time per month versus, oh, I got the 12K in cash, I recognize it up front. So this is where the value of an accountant who does, cash flow forecasting, tax planning comes in. They will easily earn their fees through saving you from getting fined for underpayments and also helping you pick the proper accounting methods to save money on your tax bill as well. And then deadlines and fines. I've seen too many instances where people get busy, they forget. Yeah, a CPA won't forget. That's their job, it's their license on the line. So I've thrown a lot of information at y'all. Here's a clear framework on DIY or hire. When DIY is sufficient, well, let's say you're a shop that's just starting out, you have no employees, you have low expenses, you have under 50K in annual revenue, you have low volume, and you don't plan on growing fast, you don't plan on scaling fast, and it's really more of a side hobby. Yeah, you actually might not need a CPA. You can get it away with self filing, and I'd be more than happy to show you some pointers and tips so that you can be on your merry way. Now, when do you really need a CPA? When you start hiring staff, payroll taxes, so many people mess that up. Funding and stock, that complicates your business. You want someone trained to deal with the complexity. Also, just really annoying processes that sink up your time. Let's say bookkeeping's taking you 5 hours per month. You want a CPA at your corner who can make that seamless and taken off of your plate. The way that I like to do things, I like a hybrid alternative that keeps costs reasonable for small businesses. I'm a firm proponent in cloud based accounting software for capturing daily transactional activity. While every month we review the financials, we do the bookkeeping, we classify the transactions, and we sit down with you for 30 minutes just to give you a snapshot of how your business is doing. That is the way I like to do things, and that, from my experience, results in the most value add for small businesses. Let's take this a step further. People think of CPAs as just the guy who does all the taxes, the bookkeeping. No, we're actually way more. So the DIY cycle of finance, you're chasing the invoices, you're paying the bills, you're getting on phone with people who owe you money. You're doing everything yourself. Did you know that a CPA can do all of that for you? So full stack bookkeeping, seamless tax and payroll, fractional CFO oversight. When you have a CPA that has all of their services under the same roof, you make one phone call, all the work gets done, and a snapshot of all of that work gets given to you. Versus a traditional CPA shop where you do the taxes, you do the books, and they send you on your merry way and they give you a big invoice at the end of the day. That's not how we do things. We are a strategic partner who, if it makes sense, we want to serve as your full service finance and accounting partner. All right, so let's say we determined, yeah, it's about time to seek help instead of just DIY. How do we ensure a smooth and seamless transactional transition? The first thing you want to do is you want to gather records. Secondly, you want to vet out all your partners, right? You want to vet out, hey, do they have the ability to do the full service, the full cycle? Do they know the modern tools of the trade? You don't want a guy who's 70 years old and still writing everything on a piece of paper. That's not good modern service. Clean up and alignment of cadence. You want to meet regularly with your CPA, and you also want the books to be cleaned on a regular basis as your business incurs activity. Once you have a good partner, you have good records, it's sustain and nurture, and that is what a good CPA absolutely excels at. Taking decisive action now protects your assets and scales your business if we make the determination that DIY is not the way to go. And here is how you set up a smooth transition. What I analyze is the vectors that enable all this. So I always give a complimentary financial evaluation. I like to see where your growth and margins are. If you're running in an efficient manner, do you have any hidden compliance exposures? Because I want to keep you clear of the crosshairs of the tax man. And then lastly, operational needs. What are the tasks in finance, in accounting that drain you instead of energizing you? What can I take off of your plate so you can be empowered to do your best work? If you're ready to scale, hit us up at 980-507-4174 for a complimentary consultation. This is not a sales call. In fact, I regularly turn down clients who don't need my service. In fact, as we went over today, if you're under $50,000, you might not even need to talk to us. If you have a simple business, you might not even need to talk to us. But feel free to shoot us text either way because, the worst case, you leave with some free tax and accounting advice. But if you're ready to scale, we're going to evaluate your business on, what are some of the manual accounting tasks that absolutely drain you? Where are some of your potential tax optimization opportunities? And where can we work to improve your growth and margins? So shoot us a text or shoot us a note. I really look forward to speaking with you. And if you have any questions, you know exactly where to find us. I'm Manny Lai, the Samurai CPA, signing off.